Welcome, nerds, to our next podcast where we're going to be talking about one of my favorite authors,
Yay.
Penelope Douglas. We are breaking this up into two podcasts. So we're going to be talking about her standalone books. We're not really getting into the series just because we haven't read them yet.
Yeah.
But today we're going to be talking about Punk 57 and Birthday Girl. And Birthday Girl, is just one of my favorite.
That is your favorite.
Ever. And the thing about Penelope Douglas is, I went into this knowing that most of her books are taboo, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I still really liked it. I was not expecting to like this as much as I did.
Yeah. Oh, I love this one. I started my Penelope Douglas journey with Credence, so which I enjoyed, and we'll talk about on the next episode, but yeah, I really enjoyed Birthday Girl. And I like Punk 57, more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't expect it. I was like, is this Penelope Douglas?
It didn't feel like one of her taboo romances, but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So, the Birthday Girl, we're going to talk about both of the books at once. Birthday Girl is basically about a girl who's dating, a guy her age. She's known since high school. And they have to move in with his dad because he's having a rough time. And they get kicked out of their apartment. Mm-hmm. And move in with his dad. A lot of stuff happens. And she winds up falling for his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, Daddy Pike. Thank you. We love that.
Yep.
Punk 57 is about two kids who, in I think grade school, they signed up to become pen pals, and the girl's name is Ryan, so they think that it's two girls that are talking to each other, but they actually got a girl and a guy, a boy, and they start there, and it's adorable. They are pen pals their whole life.
It's so cute.
They never meet. But you know what's crazy? They live 30 minutes apart, and they know that they live 30 minutes apart.
But they didn't want to mess with the illusion.
They didn't, and it was adorable. Yeah. But then, they do meet. He realizes who she is. She has no idea who he is. And then there is an entire subplot that we're going to get into that was really, really good for that.
I really like that book.
Yes. And of course, with Penelope Douglas, everything is very spicy.
It is. Okay, but let's do the spice level separately. So give me your spice level for Birthday Girl, and then you could do Punk 57.
So, I love a slow burn.
Mm-hmm.
The yearning in this one was just such quality. While it is super spicy, it takes a really long time to get there.
Yes. You know about Birthday Girl?
Yes, for Birthday Girl. It takes a while because she's going through stuff with her boyfriend. There's no scenes between her. And there is where they almost go at it, but they're having a rough go and they can't get it together. So you really don't get any spice till her and the dad begin to give in to their feelings. And so, while I want to give this 5 chili peppers because I enjoyed it so much, I'm really only going to say 3.5. Just for because you had to wait so long through the book. Mm-hmm. This is smut for plot, not smut for smut. But it's so quality that it's just my favorite. So I'm giving it 3.5 chili peppers. What are you going to give it?
Yeah, so I agree. It took a minute to get there, but the tension buildup was really good. And honestly, even the scene where she was by herself, the imaginal smut was fantastic.
Yes.
Remember that
it was. Oh my God. They both dream about each other.
So it's you didn't get traditional spice in this novel, but you did get some really good, imaginal on your own kind of. They could have been there.
They both dream about each other. And,
but just the quality of it. So the frequency was definitely less, but I don't know. I really enjoyed the quality of the spice in this book with that tension build up. So I'm gonna give that one. I agree, 3.5.
Yeah. 3.5 really
could have taken
quality.
more of it. Really quality.
Really quality chili peppers.
Yeah.
Could we? Yeah, I would have read more.
Yeah, I would have.
There is actually, if you bought the physical copy of it, there is a bonus scene in this one that I should leave this book for you.
You should read that book for me.
It is actually really good.
I listened to it with my ears.
They don't have it for your ears, but they do have it for your eyes, and it is worth a read with the bonus scene. Because I have reread this twice.
Yeah.
I reread it this week just for this podcast, and I just enjoyed all of it. It's so good.
It really is.
And I went into this, I had read Credence, which we'll get to on the next one. Mm-hmm. So I knew that I could be into a taboo romance, but when I read this one, I was like, ooh, this may be my favorite romance book.
Yeah.
And it is she does we shouldn't do this so well, this is wrong.
I know.
We can't do this. Oh, but I want to so bad.
Yeah.
It's so good.
The
The Yearning. She writes really great female characters, and online there's a lot of debate about Jordan's character, right?
Okay.
But we'll get into that. That's why we need to talk about trauma level with this one.
Yeah.
Because there is some trauma in it. Jordan goes through a lot of things.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that happens before the story takes place with her ex, who was abusive. And then, like, Cole, her boyfriend, is not that great to her.
He's not abusive. He's just selfish.
He's selfish. He's ignorant. He was supposed to pick her up that one night. She winds up having to sleep at the bar. He gets really drunk, and her ex-boyfriend shows up in his car to pick her up, and like that's just dangerous. So like there were some trauma, but I'm not gonna say this is trauma filled by any means. No. This is more a book of trying to come to an understanding about yourself and what you want.
Accepting who you are.
and what you want. Absolutely. So trauma level for me on this book, I'm giving it like 1.5.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like 1.5. It really wasn't much. And for her, like, because I've read, even in some of the other Penelope Douglas, well, like I said, I don't want to jump to the next podcast. One of her other books, the female main character is like totally isolated. This girl had a support network. She had been through some things, but like I didn't feel, my heart didn't bleed for her as much as some of the other characters that I've read in her story.
I mean, her support network was not great.
I mean, you know what? I liked her sister. Her sister accepted who she was, what she wanted.
Let's talk about her sister for a minute. Because I did absolutely love her as a character. She was hilarious. Her sister is a stripper.
Yeah.
Her sister has a kid, and she's just making a living, and she is shameless. She doesn't care.
I love that for her.
I love that for her. She's like, I'm doing what I gotta do, and honestly, if you want to do it, she's all for it. She like gives her like very not so subtle hints.
Yeah.
Like she leaves the pamphlet for the wet t-shirt, and the little nightie to wear for it.
Yeah.
And her sister's like, you need to make some money. I mean, hey.
That's right. She's also supportive of the relationship. She's like, oh, this is where you moved? Sure. With him? Okay.
Immediately. She's like, wow, his dad.
See, I love that.
I loved her.
Who you are. I did. So she was an important support. So that's what, for me, I was like, well, you're not all on your own struggling with this. Like, you're just, it's an internal struggle.
There weren't a lot of characters in this book, but every character in this book really added to the entire story.
Yeah.
I agree. But from her ex to her sister, from Cole to Pike, and Pike's friends. I loved Pike's friends and his co-workers, because immediately all of them were like, oh, she's very pretty.
Yeah.
You're very different around her. And he's like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
She's just a kid. And I'm like, no, she's not. And it was just this old.
It was good.
It was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, this is about I can't, but I really want to. And then it's like, maybe we should. No, we shouldn't. And then, like the first scene that they have, he takes her like mudding in his truck, which is a really fun scene. Cute. Yeah, it was cute. They go to do something fun after they get off work. And they come back and they're covered in mud, and they have to get the mud off when they go in the house with the hose outside.
They almost get caught.
Oh, they do. They are right, about to get hot and heavy, and then his son is like, "Hey, Dad." Yeah. So, like, just for reference, like the son cheats on her while they're together.
Well, we needed that to happen.
That's
what allowed her to be who she was.
That set them free. That was definitely the catalyst, because they had been eyeing each other. They'd been having some moments alone, thinking about each other, and like, I shouldn't do this. But then when she finds him at the dad's house when she gets off work early with a girl outside, and she becomes visibly upset. And that's when his dad walks in. He's like, "What's going on?" And he looks out the window and he's like, "No way."
Well, I think he took. Their relationship was complicated, but I think he wanted his son to be a better man too.
He did. He loved his son, and she cared for him too. And they had been through some very traumatic stuff as kids when one of their friends died. So like they were there for each other, and their love grew out of that. But this is a book about how that wasn't enough, because it wasn't enough of a connection for them. It was at the time when they needed it, but as they grew and became different people, it wasn't enough to sustain their relationship.
Right. But it did make it hard. I think that almost maybe more than the taboo was part of what made it hard for her to let go of.
Absolutely.
It's like just that loyalty to him because of their shared trauma and what they went through.
And I think this is about how they were always better as friends.
Yeah.
You know? And it was just like they were both alone in their grief and they came together. But like she never didn't want to be friends with him, you know?
Yeah.
Which is really sweet in its own respect. But yes, Birthday Girl, absolute favorite of Penelope Douglas books.
Right.
I mean, and clap all day.
Yeah.
I will reread this again. This is a great one when I'm like a little stressy and depressing, you know, just to like lift me up because I just want to hear Daddy Pike talking about her and, you know, her dreaming about him. And then.
Well, and I love that they met before.
Yes.
They knew it because I think that's an important piece of the story because it. I don't know. It just facilitated, maybe it's only for my mental ease, it facilitated it being like, okay, this isn't about him being, he happens to be Cole's dad.
Yes.
This is about, they had that connection.
So when the book opens, it's her birthday, and she was waiting for Cole to pick her up, and he doesn't make it. So she's like, you know what, I'm just going to go watch a movie, because she loves 80s movies.
Yeah.
And she sees somebody in there. She winds up sitting next to this guy, and she's like, hey, can I sit next to you? Because I feel weird. And he's like, yeah, no problem. And then they like just have a great time watching this movie together, laughing, kind of cuddling up a little bit, but nothing like super weird. Just like, hey, this was really fun. And then, you know, she's like, it's my birthday. And he's like, oh my God. And that's kind of the premise for the Birthday Girl part of this book. And it's not until later that night when they were outside talking and he gets a call that his son is in jail and she's like, who's your son? And he's like, oh God, that's my boyfriend. And immediately they figure it out there. And then that's when, you know, they wind up having to move in. And it's just, it's so good.
I do love a forced proximity.
I do.
I'm not going to lie.
I don't know why.
I don't either. There's just something.
It just seems like, and that's the whole thing about Penelope Douglas. All of these books really feel like it should be something I'm not into.
Right.
But she writes it so well. You know? And she writes tension better than any other author I've ever read.
I agree. I completely agree.
It's the build-up. And then once she finally gives it to you, she gives it to you. Right. Like you are gonna, she doesn't leave anything out. No crumbs were left.
She does make you wait at least halfway through this book before it. Because that was a little too much build up.
Most of these books, actually, you're going to get halfway or more. I think Birthday Girl, Punk, Credence.
Even Credence, yeah.
And I mean, even with Five Brothers, there's a scene right in the beginning and there's nothing for a while.
Right.
So
that was a good scene.
But that was part of the plot, so we'll get to that one in the next one. But yeah, so the smut that she writes in her books is always crucial to the plot. Yeah. So it's never like all of this stuff is happening and then they hook up. It was like they hooked up because they either grew as characters or they overcame something together. Yeah. And that's going to lead us into Punk 57.
Yeah. I really like this one, but if you had given me this to read blind, I don't think I would have identified it as Penelope Douglas.
Right.
Yeah.
It is so different.
So different from the other ones that I've read.
Yes.
Yeah. Really good though.
Right. And Penelope Douglas, I will say this, is my least favorite thing about her is that her characters are so young. Yeah. So in Birthday Girl, she is turning 19, which is I think one of the oldest.
Penelope.
One of the oldest female main characters I've read in one of her books. In Punk 57, both of the main characters, the female main character and the male main character, are in high school.
Yes.
But they're about to graduate. Yeah. So they were like 17, bordering on 18, which is usually where most of her books land.
Start, yeah.
Yeah. I don't love that, but I get why she starts there because it's such a coming, especially Punk 57, it's such a coming of age book. In Birthday Girl, she is a fully formed person because she had to grow up really fast and a lot of things happen. But in Punk 57, they do have some trauma, especially Misha, but like they are growing up together. Yeah. And honestly, this book starts when they're in like first grade.
Yeah. But I would say this one, so overall trauma level though, I mean, I would give this one like a 1. I mean, they've got something, maybe 2 because of the sister. Maybe 2 because of the sister. Yeah. But I also too, I tend to, when I associate with trauma with, and this is just my operational definition of it, but like kind of more of like less grief and like life circumstances, more like pain. Yeah. And that when I talk about trauma levels, I mean, they're both definitions that is traumatic, especially the way he lost his sister. But yeah, so like maybe a 2 for this one.
I would definitely give it 2.5, just because in how he deals with his sister's death. It's just, he's not doing well
No.
for a good portion of this
No.
book. And then the whole subplot with his mom, which you don't really get until the end, is very sad. That was very sad.
That one scene where he's confronting was very sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was intense.
So let's talk about spice level for punk, because Punk 57 is different. It's not really taboo in as much as like...
No, there's no age gap.
There's no age gap.
There's no family connection.
There's no family connection.
I'm like waiting for it. I'm like, wait, are they siblings? No, they're not.
They're not. So they start out in like first grade. They get, like I said, assigned pen pals, and they talk the whole time throughout this book. And their letters are super adorable. They're written as kids, and then they get older, and they're just sharing their life experiences with each other. And it's not a sexy time.
And writing songs. So like he's a musician, and she helps with lyric, like, and they just support. Yeah, it's just super cute.
So after his sister tragically dies while running, she has like a heart attack, right? Because she was like taking amphetamines to try to like, she was trying to do all these sports and make good grades, and it kind of fell by the wayside. Nobody noticed, and she winds up tragically dying on the side of the road while on a run.
Yeah.
It was really sad.
I think the worst part too, an important part of the story, is that happens. So, because he actually gets her that night, makes her get in the car because he's worried she's going to get kidnapped, but then she ran out, either her tires flat or she ran out of gas.
Yeah.
So that's why she had to get back out and try to run out of gas. That was the first night he met Ryan. Ryan didn't know who he was, but he was at that event.
Oh, it was that night.
It was that night, and he missed the call from her because he was taking those selfies with Ryan. So he has like massive amounts of guilt.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was like a super important, I think part of his trauma around that was he also felt insanely responsible.
Yes. And his mom, when he was a kid, left him and his sister when they were very young and never came back.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of this, because after everything happens, he shows up at Ryan's school, and she doesn't know who he is. He knows who she is, but he's not there for her, because you find out later that his mom is the principal. Yeah. And he is trying to find a couple of things so that he can confront her, because she didn't even come to the funeral when her daughter died.
I know.
Which was awful.
It's terrible. He's got some reasons. So part of this book, you kind of get that backstory. They meet that one night, and then it almost fast forwards to 3 months later where he hasn't written her. Because that night they met, he knew who Ryan was. He lied about who he was.
He didn't tell her.
Because I think they were both kind of afraid to ruin that, illusion of who they had through these. What if we don't like each other? What if it changes things? They were too afraid to change, to move forward.
Because you find out as he meets her and he shows up at her school that she portrays herself to be somebody who she wants to be in the letters with him.
Yeah.
But she is a teenage girl in high school, and she's just trying to fit in.
Trying to survive.
She's trying to survive. And when he gets there and realizes that she's like this popular girl and she's not who she has portrayed herself to be in these letters, he's very upset. And he's already dealing with so much that he just couldn't handle it. And he gets very mad. She presents herself as somebody who kind of stands up to the bully, is independent, walks her own line. And she doesn't do any of that.
And she does not do any of that. And in her own internal dialogue throughout it, I do think she hates herself a little bit, but she's just trying to survive. But after that initial encounter, the night his sister died, and he enrolls in that school under the fake name Mason, their first interaction is in an art class where she kind of actively bullies this other little kid, Manny, and I think that's the moment.
Well, Manny is her friend, and Manny gets bullied in front of her, and she says nothing.
Oh no, but she said it. She made a comment.
She did?
Yeah, the boyfriend was trying to do something, and so she made a comment that brought Manny into it, and then her crap boyfriend, douchebag boyfriend, Trey, just goes on him, and she does nothing. Yeah. But it wasn't, she was kind of in it, and then she wanted to divert attention from her.
There's a really great part in that where, in his letters he had written at one point, or he had written in the place that he was living, "I just want to taste you." And he grabs her, licks her on the side of the neck, and tells her she tastes like shit.
Yeah, he does. He is mad. I will say that about his character. I hated everything he went through, but I loved that his character was so strong, because that's what you want, and that's clearly who Ryan wanted to be. And I think he needed her, maybe not to be as much of a bully, but I think she needed a dose of that to grow. Yes, she did, and ultimately she does. He basically bullies her into being who she is. Now, the whole premise for the name Punk 57 was that
someone at school had been writing like all these quotes around school on the walls at night, and nobody knew who it was, and they always signed it Punk. Yeah. And it was her.
Yeah.
And when he figures that out, he realizes that like she is hiding who she is, but like she was trying to be who she wanted to be, and he just kind of pulls that out of her. And at the same time, they start a relationship very quietly. You know, it's like it's secret. I guess that's the
taboo part. It's like the popular girl going with the kid from the wrong
because I mean they have a scene in like the library the first time where like he figures it out because he was in the school trying to find some stuff on his mom. She doesn't know that, and he like they're being chased by the security guards, so they're hiding in the library, and then that turns into a very spicy scene. Right there, and then there's another scene where they're in his truck at the drive-in movie theater, and his truck is very tinted, thank God, because they go at it.
The car wash scene happened first, didn't it? When they go to wash the car.
Oh yeah, the car wash scene.
Too. This has got some good spice in it.
It has some really quality spice in it. It's really good, but he lies about who he is, and he feels really bad about it because he's like, and one of my favorite parts is when he drops her off after the drive-in scene. And she tells him about her pen pal, and they get out and he goes, what's your pen pal's name? Because he hates that she calls him Mason. That's not his
When
actual
they're being
name.
intimate, she wants him to use his name.
And he can't tell her that he's Misha, and she's like, his name is Misha, and he kisses her, and he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Can you say it again? And he kisses her again, and she's like, that was just kind of weird.
Yeah,
you know,
that was
like
cute.
There were instances she probably should have picked something up on that because she says, it just feels like we've known each other for so long, all the time.
When he did drop one clue, he said something that he must have said in the letter.
Yes.
And almost got it. So I don't know, it's like a really good back and forth. One of my favorite things about this, though, is even though she is not being true to herself in her high school with this, she is with him.
Yes.
Like, she stands up to him. She stands up to the bullying.
He pulls it out of her.
She has it.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see that growth. And I really liked her internal dialogue. I was telling you the other day, it's like I almost wish she could pull out all the spice out of this book and make it like YA, because I think the message in it is really important, like the type of social pressure she has.
Yeah.
Like even at one point she is towing this line of not wanting to have sex with Trey. She knows she doesn't want to have sex with him. He's such an asshole, but she is so afraid that if she actually scorns him or puts up a firm boundary, he'll basically lie about what happened and embarrass her and bully her on social media, post and say God knows what. So I mean, like, that's such a insane threat that, like, I didn't have to deal with at that age. I wouldn't have dial-up internet still. but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just such a... It's such a crazy pressure to be put in where, like, this guy's such a jerk that he could lie and ruin your reputation on social media and get you bullied that you have to, like, you can't put up a boundary and just say, no, I don't want you.
Right.
And so she spends half of the book flirting with him enough to not make him mad just so she can survive the school year.
Which is so messed up.
That part, for me, was more traumatic than any of their backstories, even the sister stuff. I mean, I can't imagine the pressure. And I think that pressure is very real.
I do agree that if you took all of the spicy stuff out, this would be a great YA novel.
Yes.
Because they're both dealing with so much, and they see it in each other, and they really help each other bring it out. But they're able to talk about it with each other. Mm-hmm. Now, we need to get to where she figures out that he is Misha, because she figures it out before he tells her, and she is mad, rightfully so, because they have now forged like a very intense relationship with each other, and there's just so many things that don't make sense. And then when she finally, do you remember how she figured it out?
A YouTube video of him playing in a band with his name under the he was tagged in it. But it was really hard at that point too, because she hadn't talked to Misha for months. He hadn't written back. She keeps writing letters. And so, but she's starting that throughout this journey with Mason, she's starting to rely more on Mason than Misha, and she's starting to feel guilty about it too. Yeah. So then it's like this whole other level of betrayal when she finds out they're the same person that just, I mean, she forgave him a little too fast.
But, you know, I didn't want it to take very long. I didn't. She did get very upset. She had it out with him, and then they made up, and it was great.
They did. No tension built there.
No.
You knew
but we had been,
she was accepting.
Like, this had so much story in it. And you
it
know,
really did.
And when you find out that, like, he confronts his mom, and then that doesn't go well, she does tell him that she's sorry. But, you know, she has no excuse.
Yeah. And, you know, it's funny because that part, like, I can't say I didn't see it coming, but like I had entertained it, and I'm like, no, that would be too
I
weird.
didn't see that was his mom.
Well, when he stole the letters out of her office,
yes.
I was like, I either thought something was going on between the sister and the stepson, or I'm like, could that possibly be his own? I was like, no way.
I didn't catch
I
it.
just missed it.
I was so caught up in their story that I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
So at the end, when he's like, Mom, I was like, what? I was like, oh my God, this is such a good book. You got me. And, you know, but I was so caught up in Misha and Ryan's story. And it's so great. And it was done so beautifully. And that's the thing about Penelope Douglas. The reason she can write this stuff, she can have young characters, she can have age gaps, is because it's so well written. The characters are so well developed.
Yeah.
I love them. Even though sometimes they're problematic, I love them.
I will say from like a character depth and growth perspective, I think this is probably one of my favorite books in terms of characters. Like, I love all of her stories, I love all the spice, but this one felt like we were learning something.
So we didn't give this one a spice level. What would you give Punk for spice?
Probably, I mean, it got pretty spicy there for being kind of a short novel. And there was some good, I don't know, maybe probably 3.5.
I'm gonna go 3.5 also. Absolutely. And overall, what would you give Birthday Girl?
Oh, I love Birthday Girl. I love Birthday Girl. I mean, okay, so this is hard because I was like, this is definitely, Punk 57 is definitely a 5-star read for me because I just love so much of the story in it. And so, I mean, I guess I can give them both a 5. But, yeah, I guess I was like, I'm like, oh, do I have to compare? But, yeah.
You don't.
They're both great. I like them both for different reasons.
Exactly. These are both 5-star reads for me. And a 5-star read for me is something I'm going to go back to and read again. And I actually read both of these again this week and enjoyed them over and over again. Different reasons, like you said, they're completely different books. They don't read like they're the same author, but they were so good. So good.
Yeah. I'm actually really glad I read Punk 57 because don't get me wrong, I love Penelope Douglas books as always, but like this, like I said, I just really was like touched by the story. I
love how
the message she's giving.
She will get out of her comfort zone and do different stuff.
Yeah.
And I love them. I'm so excited. And y'all, please stay tuned for the next one because we have to talk about Credence and Five Brothers. And those
it's just fun.
They're going to be so fun because those are definitely so unhinged. So thank you all for joining us for this one. Please stay tuned because we will be doing the next one right after. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.